This is the Future of Work Summit 2020, and our theme this year is Barriers and Enablers in Africa. This afternoon, we had a session on the digital transformation and e-government, and we spoke at a level that related mostly to government policies and also how we as individuals can actually hold our government accountable to transparency and other things that Ms. Tessa Dooms talked about that can actually make government more accountable in this new world of work. This evening, the conversation is not about the government, it's about you. It's about me, and our theme this evening our sub-theme rather, is being a holistic person in the future of work. We know that the world of work is changing, and there's so many things demanding our attention. Just before I started this session, I remember reading online on Instagram, and one of my friends was complaining about how she's been on Zoom all day. Yes, we enjoying the fact that we can work from home, but then it is beginning to also show us that if we're not careful, our screen time has significantly increased in the last few months based on the pandemic. And if this is what the future of work represents, how can you and I protect ourselves, guard ourselves such that we are not one-sided and we are holistic, and also many of the things that Tessa talked about being a lifelong learner, reskilling, upskilling. Those are the conversations that we're talking about, but on an individual level. How can you be positioned for the future of work as an holistic person, well-rounded? And to have that conversation with me this evening is a gentleman that I've known for a long time, my dear friend, Gbenga Isaac Oni. I'm just going to read his profile. Gbenga Isaac Oni is a development consultant with over 10 years experience around Accept. Accept represents something that he has done, the different sectors he has worked in or is working in: agriculture, community engagement, conflict resolution, education, and training. So Gbenga is that person that Tessa was referring to, like herself earlier, that has worked across 3 to 5 sectors over the course of their career life, and they'll probably still do more. And that's what our generation is doing, millennials, and the generation after us will probably do more. They'll probably have many more jobs or career paths than the typical older generation. It also has experience that cuts across 10 countries, both on the continent and beyond. He acquired a BSc in Agri-Economics and Extension. He has a master's in conflict resolution, assets and inequalities. He holds a diploma in business and entrepreneurship leadership, and certificate in PDIA, which is a type of design thinking. He'll tell us more about it, and also holds a certificate in project management. So this evening, join me in welcoming Gbenga Oni as he shares with us on what it means to be an holistic person. Before Gbenga takes over though, I'd just like to hear from you, our attendees. Since this is about us, can you just type in the chat box this evening one thing you're hoping to take away from this session? What is your expectation? And then I'll ask Gbenga as well as he joins. So Gbenga, you're welcome. Please come on line.
Yeah, thank you, Busola, and thank you everyone for coming in. Thank you for having me.
So yes, in the chat box, can we have our attendees just share with us what is their expectation for this evening, or where are you joining us from as well, and what are you looking to take away from this conversation on being a holistic person? Thank you. I'll read the chats and just give people to settle in. Emmanuel from Nigeria, welcome. Good to have you here. Let's keep it rolling. Engage. Thank you all for giving us your time, your resource. We know it's not, it's actually amazing to have you, and it's not, what's the word? The word is not cheap. It's great having you, and we know you're spending resources to be here. Yes. Let me scroll up a bit. Igeta from Japan, thank you for joining. I know you're staying up late. Thank you for that. Your expectation is to learn more about yourself. Thank you. Dr. Fatima, thank you so much. We're looking forward to your session on Sunday. Your expectation is to expand your understanding of the interplay between a well-rounded workforce, individual, and a holistic one. Yes, I'm sure Gbenga is listening and he will be sharing many of these with us as we progress. Let me just activate the sharing on Facebook. You can share with your friends as well to join us, and you can also share the link if people would like to be a part of the conversation. Yes, so Mr. Gbenga Oni, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Busola, and thank you, Stand for Greatness, for inviting me. And thank you, everyone all over the world, for joining us this evening, or this night, or this afternoon, depending where you're joining from. I hope that there's no morning yet, but it's either an afternoon, an evening, or a night. So when I was asked to talk about the being an holistic person, so I started to say, okay, how best can we do that than to design a compass? So this evening, from here in Nigeria, I'll be sharing with you a compass that will help you guide your trajectory to the future. You know, do our target for this evening, it's for, we're talking about people 25 down, but it's for everybody and above. I think every human being living on earth right now that want to have a very good impact in life, then this compass will be useful for you. And I enjoyed a lot of things that Tessa said, because we need to start looking at the human phase of all of our development and technology. And if we must reform all of the corruptions all over the world, because I think COVID-19 has come as something that has exposed the world to show that we really need to discuss what is life, why are we here on earth for, and why are we doing what we're doing. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to share a compass. To you, just a second, please. Let's do this. Can you see, Busola? Can you see the compass?
Not yet.
Okay. So I think we should have it now, right?
Yes, it's coming up.
Okay, yeah. If it's up, let me know if they can see it.
Yes, it is. If you're in the audience, you can also just chat if you can see the compass.
So, okay, I think
it is up.
now,
You
so
can go on.
for the next, okay, yeah, so for the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about this compass as related to how do you become a holistic person in whatever you're doing. So we all know what a compass is. A compass is that little device that helps us to have direction to life, or give us direction to where we're going. And it has the 4 cardinal points, which is the north, the east, the west, and the south. So in looking at, from experience I've had working across with the private sector, a little bit with the government, and now working with an agency of the US government. So now looking at, but I'm here as my capacity as a private person, so I'm not speaking on behalf of my organization, speaking for myself. So now I looked at the compass and look at, okay, what are those areas we need? What are some of those toolkits that we can go along? So this compass is going to be a device that I would advise everyone to take along with them. You could feel free to share with your friends, feel free to share with your family members. So for a compass, we have the north, the east, the west, the south. So each of those statements you see around the compass, they might not directly relate to what we're saying. Remember, everybody remember what we say when we say find your true north. No, we've heard that statement a lot, find your true north. So when we're talking about finding your true north as an individual, it's asking you 2 things. Each of these key will explain them. So I'll just run through the compass, then I'll show you the next slide that will talk through each of the statement in the compass. So we always say finding your true north. So for everybody that's on the call tonight, or everybody that's going to listen to this video later on, what is very, very important for you and critical for you in life or in the future, because we've seen that accumulating the wealth that the 1% of the people in the world owns cannot solve the problem of the world. There needs to be wealth distribution, or there needs to be healthy ethics even towards work. And for you to do that, you need to know your core, and you also need to look at growth. So we'll come back to discuss about that. So the first call I'll give to everybody is find your true north. What is your true north? And there are 2 questions here that will help you to discover your true north. We'll come back to that. It's 1, what is your core? 2, growth. Then the E, go east. And if we say go east, all of us know that the sun rises from the east. So when you advise life to go towards east, is to always look at your growth point, to look at those things that will help you to grow. What are those things that will help you to shine in life? So 2 questions that will help us look at how do we go east is be a thinker. Then avoid the social media trap. We'll talk about that when we come back. Then in life, people say, don't go south. When you're having a conversation with someone and you say, what happened to that? They say it has gone south. It means it didn't work. But that's that. But in helping us to explore how we will not go south in life, how we will not miss our direction, you need to be a seed. Then 6, spirituality. We'll talk about spirituality. The concept of spirituality is evolving and is becoming even well known apart from the eastern part of the world, in Asia and other places. In Africa, people are beginning to pick up, and even in America and all of the places, looking at beyond just existing. What is your core of your spirituality? What's the core of your being? We'll take a look at that. Then 7, that will also help you not to go south in life, is to look at rest. What's the plan of rest in your work? So you also understand what it means to talk about rest. Then go west, friend. So go west is like also a terminology that was coined in terms of keep making progress. Keep making progress in life. And what are those 3 good questions that we're going to explore this evening that will help you go west in life, or that will help you be a holistic person now and even in the future, and will leave a mark in the time of time, is your attitude, balance, and choices. So if you have questions, you can keep dropping them. So I'm going to share the next slide that explains each of the part of the compass. Then we'll have a conversation. And please feel free to start dropping questions as I start speaking so that they can compile. We'll be able to do that. So I'm going to stop sharing this and share the second with us. Just a second. Technology. Here you come. Okay. So can we all see this? Busala?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. So now we'll start talking on each of the key to the compass that we just spoke about. So the first, we talk about the core. So it's very important for you to find your true north. And how do you find your true north? You need to ask yourself, what is life calling you to? We've heard a lot of questions. People talk about 5-year goals, 10-year goals. Those goals are important. We're not saying that. But you need to be sure what is your true core. Because if you don't understand your true core, you get to work everywhere. Sometimes you make the tons of dollars, tons of money in life, but you don't find that fulfillment. So you need to ask yourself, what is life calling you to? Is life calling you to be a teacher and you're there being a medical doctor? Is life calling you to be a medical doctor and you're there trying to become an engineer or an app developer? You need to find what is life calling you to. And some of the ways that can help you to find what life is calling you to. Ask yourself, what do people easily come to you to find? What do people come to you to ask? Busola, help us do this. Samson, help us do this. Regata, help us do this. What are those things that easily draws you in life? Because until you find your core, until you find what life is drawing you to, you keep jumping from one career path to another without finding fulfillment. And it's now important that in life, we should all try to find fulfillment. We've had a lot of people work in the banking sector, they quit it to pursue their cause. But for some, they're struggling, if I leave it, the big dollars, if I leave the big money job, the big money profession, what will happen? But it's important that you find a career that will make you make impact in life. You can see a lot of people that give this altruistic, people that come back in life to keep giving money to charity. Sorry to say this, we usually make a joke. In the back end, a lot of people that are into philanthropy, a lot of them, they miss their main business in life. They're just trying to thinking that if they give money out, a lot of dollars, they can find joy, they can find peace. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. So it's important as you are setting that, especially to the teenagers and the young people on this call, or even the adult or somebody in your mid-level part of your career now, what is life calling you to? It's also important you have your personal identities and values. What are your values? You need to know what are your values. If you don't have value, you fall for everything. Especially here in Africa, we are struggling because we have leaders that don't have value. Leaders that don't have, sometimes having value might delay some of the benefits you think you have in life, but it's important you have value. So what are your values? Those are the question the call is calling you to. What are your values? Then for the young people or for adults here, you need to learn to delay gratification. We are in a generation that everybody wants to make things very, very fast. If we must make impact and for the future that we desire, I know Tessa was asking us that question during our session, what kind of future do we want? So for the future you desire, you must learn to delay gratification. Learning to delay gratification helps you to go far. It helps you to go far in life. So those are some of the questions that help you to find your core. So if there's anything you will get from our conversation this evening in terms of being an holistic person is, what is life calling you to? What are you committed to do in life? Don't just go for everything. Know why you are here. What's your purpose? What is your purpose? You need to know that. And it's a very key question you need to ask. Beyond the 7 years vision, 10 years act plan, those plans are good. I'm not saying they're not good. But before you do that, it's important you find what is your core. What are you good at? What is life inviting you into? So the next part is the growth part of it. So it's important that once you find your core, you also need to monitor your growth. You also need to monitor your growth. Don't be a non-study generation. No, unfortunately, statistics and research has shown that though we have a lot of information, we're in a generation of information overload, but unfortunately, we're in a generation also that people do not study. Half of the young generation, the millennials and the Generation Z, and even a lot of young adults that we have now, people don't study. You just go to the internet, information is already made there for you. So know that there's a difference between reading and studying. So we are in a generation that do not study, and once you fail to study, you don't have a mark for yourself. So you need to explore knowledge. Don't be somebody that just go quickly for a quickly baked knowledge. Somebody that's gotten an information out there for you on the internet, you just grab it, but you don't think. You don't exercise your brain. So it's important that we begin to exercise our brain. Sorry if you're hearing some background noise. It's raining now, so I'll try to speak a little bit louder. So you also need to know your learning style and your learning strategy. It's important and it's crucial for you to become an holistic person. Know what works for you. Not people will come out and say, oh, the CEO is reading this. CEO read 50 books in a year, and all of you want to read 50 books. Sometimes it might be a waste of your time and your energy. You can convert that to others and be strategic in terms of what you want to learn and what you want to know. And know that we have gone beyond the generation of education. Education is good, but you need connection. When I mean connection, I'm not saying connection in the African way or in the Nigerian way. I'm saying connection in terms of people that can take you to the next level. So once you go for conferences, once you're starting out in a profession, who will you speak to? For instance, I want to be a teacher, or I want to become a professional teacher at the top of my career. I need to look at teachers that can connect me to materials, that can connect me to resources. So life is more than education. So for those of you that stay in school, as you're in school, be making connection with your friend, form those partnerships, form those friendships, because you don't know what they'll become in life. You don't know where they're heading to. Don't live alone. Don't live in an island. Form the connection. It's important. Connections are important for groundwork, for your growth. So for you to grow in your profession, for you to grow in your trajectory, you need to have those connections. It is very, very important that you have connection. Then next, you need to track your progress. If you don't track your progress, you don't know where you are. For example, you know, this is my call in life. I've been called to do this in life, and you're not tracking how you want to get there. Even sometimes people have 5, 7 years goal, 10 years plan, but they don't track them. So once you don't track your goals, then you can achieve them. Hello, Busola, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to be sure that we're still here together.
Yes, we are here.
Okay. So 3, you need to be a thinker. Unfortunately, we are in a generation that people have outsourced their thinking. Please don't outsource your thinking. Think for yourself. I know, especially in the religious sector or in other places, people just believe what you believe what your religious leaders have said. You believe what an influencer have said on Instagram and all of that. Sometimes a lot of those people, they are not being honest. They say what they don't do. So you need to think for yourself, especially for the young generation. Don't outsource your thinking. Don't outsource your thinking. Think for yourself. And don't follow what everybody says. Don't follow, have your own conviction. For people that become inventor in life, or people that have left impact in life, they think for themselves, they come up with their own conviction. And your conviction can be tied back to your value. Because trust me, if you have conviction, you will go far. You can't be pushed around at your workplace. You know you cannot get involved with corrupt practices or corrupt issues. So you need to be someone that thinks for themselves and have those opportunities. Also, create spaces to think. Unfortunately, here in Africa, our educational system and even the lifestyle we live does not create spaces to think. So you need to create spaces for yourself to think. Sometimes in your house, don't read, just create opportunity. Think for yourself. The knowledge you've been acquiring, the things you've been doing, interact with them. Take a walk. Sometimes travel. Go on vacation. If you don't have the funds to travel out of your country, out of your state, walk into the garden, look for recreational places, beautiful places that can help you think. Discover where you think. Some people think well in their bathrooms. Go to those places, create spaces, clean places, clean environment that is airy. So think for yourself. Thinking is very, very important. If you must succeed in the future that we have come into now, if you must be a holistic person, then you must be a thinker. You need to think for yourself. Create spaces to think, walk into nature to think. And one that I think it's very important again for us to double upon tonight is the issue of avoid the social media trap, especially for teenagers and young adults. Even adults are beginning to suffer some of these issues in terms of getting stuck with social media. Social media is good, it's powerful, it can amplify your work, it can amplify you, but unfortunately, a lot of people are living fake lives on social media. So you must not also get caught up in that trap. So remember that it is a virtual community. It's virtual. So sometimes you can make real life connections that will help you, but remember it is not a real community. Don't spend all of your life on social media. Try to translate social media relationship and connection to real life connections. But for those of you that use it for your job and for work opportunities, it can help you. But please know that it's a virtual community. You also need physical community. So beware of the like and share syndrome. So what do I mean by that? So for some of us, once people don't like your pictures, people don't like your comment, you feel that you're not fulfilled in life. It's becoming a sickness. It's becoming a mental challenge for a lot of young people and young adults. So please don't be trapped by that. Avoid the like and share syndrome. Don't live your life based on that. And the second thing here is that have a social media plan. Please have a social media plan. Don't be afraid to miss out. You know, when TikTok came out, I saw everybody just signing up for TikTok, most young people, sometimes you don't know where your data is going to. Like Tessa was saying in a session, and somebody asked, I think one of our friends from India asked a question about the big four, what they are doing with your data. Unfortunately, in the future we have come into, you cannot escape your presence on the internet, but you can guide your presence there. So you don't be afraid of missing out. If you know you don't need an Instagram account, don't open it. If you don't need a Twitter account, don't open it. You are not needed on every platform. Don't join every group. Don't join every WhatsApp group. Don't join every Facebook group. You need to be careful in doing that. So don't be afraid to miss out. You're not missing out on anything. For those of you that have not joined TikTok, or you're not on Instagram, or you're not on Facebook, you have not missed anything. Know why you are there. So have a plan. So for me, I have a Facebook account. I have a Twitter account. I have an Instagram account. If you go to my Instagram account, it's not just only for sharing picture. I use it to also advise. I use it to make comment. Sometimes the picture is to drag people there to come to the page. So you need to have that. You don't need to be on every platform. You need to do that. So also remember that make your social media experience a co-create experience. What I mean by co-create your experience is that when, for instance, when Mark was designing Facebook, his intent was to be a community. So when you say about community is when two people work together. So you need to co-create your experience on this platform. What kind of experience do you want to have? So now think like when they were designing Facebook, you were there with Mark. You sat down together and you designed it together. So what kind of experience do you want to have? Once you have that mentality, then you live healthy. Don't spend all of your time on Facebook or on Twitter or on social media. We don't know what will come in the future. There's more design coming. And don't be in every WhatsApp group, like I've said. You're not needed on all platforms. No pressure, no performance. Post nothing to show off. A lot of people post to show off, to do that. Living fake lives. You must not fall for that pressure. You must not fall for that pressure. You don't have to post a picture if you don't want to. Don't be forced to post a picture. But for example, if you have a LinkedIn account, it's important you have a professional picture. Sometimes I see a lot of people have, especially the young people, you have LinkedIn account, you don't have pictures on your LinkedIn account. That is not right. Don't say, Gbenga said we should not put picture. I wasn't talking about LinkedIn. So have a professional picture on your LinkedIn account. Some of you go and put your party picture on your LinkedIn account. That is not professional. Have very clear-cut professional pictures on your LinkedIn account. Remember, hyper-connection effect. It affects focus. A lot of us are hyper-connected. You are on every platform. Every minute your phone is going. Once you are hyper-connected, it also affects your focus. And you become less productive in life. So please remember that. Also learn to unplug yourself. For me, I usually take social media vacation every year, sometimes 1 to 2 months to 3 months. And I'm away from all of the social media. Nobody finds me there. Nobody wants to see me can come. So I call them my social media retreat time. So it's important learn to unplug yourself. Don't always be on all of those platforms. You need to learn to unplug yourself. So 5, be a seed. Be a seed. How do you become a holistic person? You need to be a seed. No, I also have a background in agriculture, like you can see. So now when we talk about seed, for those of us that have been in agriculture or grew up in the village, although I didn't grow up in the village, but at least I worked in the agriculture sector and also read a little bit of agri and understand the science behind seed. Now, when you plant seed in the ground, once you put it in the soil, the period you plant the seed start growing, but sometimes you don't see it. Before it germinates, growth is already taking place. So that is called your season of unknown. So for you as professional, for you know that in your career in life, there'll be season of unknown. You need to be comfortable with that. People might not know you. You might even be doing great things. People might not know you. Don't force yourself. So I've seen a lot of young people, especially this generation, you struggle to put yourself out there. If you grow too early, you have stunted growth. You die out quickly. So it's important you understand it is for a season. Be comfortable to be unknown. Be comfortable. And also, don't get stuck in the pre-germination season. You know what? In the pre-germination season, the seed is already growing in the soil. You're already making progress. But what kills a lot of young people, or even professional adults, is that you start living a life of comparison and complain. Oh, I've been doing this thing. I've been doing this. I'm not making progress. You keep complaining. When you complain like that, you're throwing negative vibe into the atmosphere. It affects you. It can stunt your growth. It can stunt your growth. So be a seed. Enjoy your pre-emergence time in the soil. Enjoy all the nutrients in the dark where nobody is seeing you. And ensure you use all of the nitrogen, all of the nutrients, potassium, everything you need in the soil. When nobody is seeing you, use them very well, because by the time you emerge very well. So it's important you do that. So remember this, in every phase of seed germination, growth is happening. Even when nobody is seeing you, you are growing. Keep the production cycle alive. And what do I mean by that? Once a seed produces, it keeps producing. If you produce 1 year, don't stop. So remember, once you know your core, the growth, you keep thinking. So one of the ways for you to grow is for you to keep thinking. It's for you to keep thinking. It's for you to keep thinking. So for you to grow, you need to keep thinking. So you keep that cycle alive. As the seed, you grow again. Also, I've made it this year. There's a lot of young people, when you make small money, you just waste it. You live life. No, you need to learn to save. You need to learn to grow. Even adults too. Like I said, we're not only talking to young people. So be a seed. If whatever you're doing, learn to grow around it. So spirituality. So, but why is it talking about spirituality? Yes, no, it's not about any religion. But when we talk about spirituality, because the human, the way we've been created by the Almighty, the Maker, whatever name you call him, some people call him God, some people call him the intelligent designer, some people might not believe that he exists, but it's okay. But we know that there's a powerful force in nature that works in us. The way we have been designed to connect to our inner body. So you need to build inner stability. You need to learn to be able to quiet the noise around you. And how do you do that? Is to grow your spiritual ability, your spiritual self. So build inner stability. That's one of the compass that you may need in life for you to become an holistic person. So learn to experience solitude at interval. Not always be. For me, I'm an extrovert. And I know a lot of extroverts also suffer that. You always want to be in the company of people. Thank God for COVID. COVID is keeping a lot of people at home now. So they're beginning to enjoy, to spend time with themselves. Solitude is very important. Learn to have solitude. So when you take solitude, sometimes nature will speak to you. The birds, all the birds flying about, the mountain, the hill, go into nature, they will speak to you. You'll be surprised that even objects in your room, you see clarity. Your mind will become so clear once you begin to do that. So please learn to experience solitude at interval. Don't always be noisy with people at every time. Don't be clever. We see a lot of people want to be clever in life. You want to use people. You want to play pranks on people. You want to use people. Remember, I talked that there's a need to have connections in life. And once you have those connections, don't be clever. Some people say, I'm clever, I'm smart. No, don't be smart. It doesn't have a staying power. You might be clever today and walk over people and get what you want and build an empire for yourself, but you will not last because you need character. Character is very, very important. Character has a staying power, but being clever does not have a staying power. So home is also very important in attending your spirituality. And what do we mean by home? Home is anywhere you keep your stuff, because for us to speak, all of us, we keep our credentials, you keep all of what is important to you at home. Sometimes it's at home that you meet people that are important to you. It's at home you connect. So the concept of home here is that where is that place that you feel at peace? Where is that place that you keep your valuable things? Is it in friends? Is it in your mind? Is it so locate your home. Once you do that, you'll be able to grow your spiritual base. Then the 7 on the compass is the rest. you need to have plan for rest. This part of the world, especially in Africa, sorry, just our focus talking about Africa, we don't really have rest as our plan. We keep working, no plan time for vacation. You don't have to go on big vacation. Ensure you rest. Working too hard, 247 and not taking rest does not make you the greatest, does not make you become the richest person on earth or make you become the most impactful person. So rest is very, very important. Have a regeneration plan in you. Like seed, when seed grows, they have regeneration time. Snakes shed their skin. Everybody has time to rest. So what is your regenerational plan? You should have it. It should be mandatory every year as you make plans to start your year. Have a plan to rest. Be intentional with people, places, and yourself. When you're with people, it is important that you become intentional. Become intentional with people. What I'm saying, be intentional, is that when you're having conversation, don't just have conversation because you're having conversation. Be intentional. Why is the purpose of this conversation? What am I deriving? So that once you become intentional with people, you begin to learn pattern. You begin to know, oh, this person does things like this. If I follow like this, I'll do that. Even when you are reading a book, when you become intentional with that book, you follow it step by step. It builds a pattern in your life. So intentionality is very, very important. Where you live. How many of you have taken time to really understand what is going on in your place? I love when Tessa talked about the colleague that went to study geography and used geography as a pattern to stop the issue of gentrification. He was intentional with his study. He used that concept to transform not only himself, but to transform his environment. So you need to be intentional. Be humble. Don't just be humble in terms of the word. Don't be humble because you want to get something from people. Be originally humble. I cannot say that being humble can open doors for you, and it can help you. It keeps you away from unnecessary trouble in life and hustle. Please be humble and be authentic. I know people are challenging this concept of being authentic. Great people like I said, God, the great marketer and all of them, they talk about authenticity. The meaning of the word authenticity is just to be authentic. But I know people are saying, no, when you say be authentic, people can hide and, okay, when you fight someone or when you're lazy, you say, oh, that's my real self. No, that's not your real self. Being authentic does not condone some negative vibes or negative things around you, but you need to be authentic. Don't live double-faced life. Let people know you for who you are. And that's what we meant by being authentic. When you're authentic, you have rest. You don't need to think of what you've told somebody today. For example, when you're not authentic, every day you need to come up with new stories. Even for your businesses, some businesses have different stories every time. You meet them, and that's why they don't even get investors. So once you're not authentic, you're not this thing, you're artificial. You go with the wind. Everything people are doing, oh, you're banned. Whatever they're saying, well, where we are going, what's raining now? You join them. Remember that song? If you're not authentic, you become like the Egugu. There's probably a song that was raining in Nigeria, like the masquerade. They were warning the masquerade to be careful not to cross the road, but he refused. He went and danced anyhow to the road, and he was knocked down by a vehicle. And that's how it might end up. Once you're not authentic in life, one day you'll be exposed, and it's not going to be helpful. By that time, it might destroy a lot of things you've built in life. So attitude, it's important. Attitude is very, very critical. And what is the attitude you need to have towards life for you to be authentic in life? You need to accept change. Like a lot of people have not come to terms with the COVID-19 or what is happening, and they're still some years back. You need to come to the reality that we are in a pandemic era, and we don't know what the future holds, but accept the changes and adapt to it. You need to accept the changes. For example, if they're laying you off work, you need to accept changes that you will not always be in high school. You will not always be in college. You will not always be in that place of work. Sometimes, no matter how great people respect you at your place of work, they must say, oh, you are the best staff. I worked with a multinational company and I won a lot of awards. But the time a new boss came and he was trying to restructure the company because they were focusing, and he said he wanted those of us that are young that can go and get job elsewhere to go. I was let go. So imagine that if I was not prepared myself for change, I won in just the first year that I was in the company, I won close to 6 awards. But they laid me off when it was time. So I had to accept the change and I moved on. So I was laid off not because I wasn't good, but because the new boss felt he cannot work with young people that might challenge him in his position. And he said we should allow the older people that might be difficult for them to get new jobs elsewhere. And it was in 2015 when Nigeria was restructuring their economy. It was a multinational company with a post here in Nigeria. And I was let go. So, but I accepted that change and I moved on with my life because I already had a clear goal. I know what my life core is. So I know if I live here, it's the same value, the same enthusiasm, the same core that I have in life, I'll take to a new organization. So you need to accept changes. So don't say, oh, they love me here. No, if time is coming, nobody's indispensable. They will let you go. But you need to make yourself indispensable to yourself. So even if they let you go somewhere, you can fit in somewhere else again. Adjust your compass when needed. You remember the compass. Like I said, the compass is something you can adjust. So, it moves around the 4 cardinal points. When you're supposed to be facing east, and you're going, and you saw that, oh, you'll be going west, and your compass said, no, turn east. Dear friend, please turn your compass and go towards the east. So be ready to adjust when need be. Then advance in life, keep moving. Take the bold step gradually, take the baby step. Don't get stuck in one place. Some people say, oh, in life, some people say, oh, I don't have any talent, I don't have any. We all have one form of talent. Whatever you have at the present, keep using it. Some people keep complaining where they were giving birth to. Some people say, oh, I was born in I don't have a hair pass. But unfortunately, half of the people that have made it in life becomes strong. They all came from a poor background. So that you don't have an excuse in that one. You need to keep taking those steps. Make effort. Make effort. I know there are places of government policy, and I wouldn't be talking about policy because that's not my conversation. Tesla laid foundation to that. Or you also need to do your best and hope that your leadership will also do best for you. So balance. You also need to find balance in life. Part of the compass is to find balance. What is find balance? Have a budget for life and live within it. When we talk about budget, it's not just about money. Have a budget with your time. Have a budget with your destiny. Have a budget with whatever you want to do, even with your relationship. If you don't have a budget and you don't live within it, people will use you. People will drag you out. People will call you for unnecessary things. You waste all of your time watching Netflix. Netflix is making tons of money. At this time, it's good. I also watch Netflix. So don't say, I watch Netflix, but it's controlled. So what we're saying is that have a budget. What time have you put for Netflix? What time do you have for social media? What time do you have for this? And live within those budgets. Because all work, worried, and no fun does not make you a holistic person. You need to create room for fun in life, but you need to have time for them. Then you also need to gain negotiating skills. I love that Tessa talked about it. If there's any skill you need for the future, you need to know how to negotiate your way. It's a very, very important. Even living with human beings, living with life, or doing businesses, even when you're out of business, whatever profession you're going to be doing, you need to learn how to negotiate. People they will use emotional this to trap you, emotional guilt. People will trap you. Family will trap you. In this part of Africa, the young people are not growing. We're not growing generational wealth because we've not gained these negotiating skills. Family use emotional guilt, emotional trap, parents and even relatives to trap you. And when you're supposed to be investing money, you are busy investing in all of your community people. You're not having. It's important to give. It's important to invest, but you need to know when to do that. So you need to take those negotiation skills. Then you also need to build your character. I see character is coming back again. You need to build your character. You also need to learn how to manage conflict. A lot of us do not know how to manage conflict. You run away from everything. If you keep running away from issues and keep running away from everything, people will use you. So you need to gain, for you to have balance in life, you need to have to manage conflict. Conflict is very important. Conflict is a part of life. Conflict is a tool that makes us grow. All conflicts are not bad because by the definition of conflict, it's just a perceived misunderstanding, disagreement between two people, or sometimes on unmet needs. When you have unmet needs, people begin to have a conflict. Please live a healthy life. When we mean live a healthy life, find work-life balance. Find balance, eat well, try your best to eat balanced diet as much as possible, have enough sleep, read, and do a lot of things for yourself. Then the last point in the compass is choices. Choices. What are life choices you are making? Don't live for performance. Please and please. Don't live for performance. You need to also learn to find mentor and coach at different seasons of your life. Sometimes you may not have one mentor all your life. These stages of your life, look out for mentor. When you are in this stage, sometimes some of your mentors, you might not even meet them. There might be people you just want to get their books and read. But sometimes also you have physical mentors so that they can guide you, the path you want to go to. Learn to write emails to people. Sometimes because people are always busy, they can decide to mentor you via email. But every stage of your life, no, do I need a mentor in this stage of my life to move forward? Do I need a coach? You need to know that. Then take responsibility for your choices or action. Don't play the blame game. You know, there's some people, every time they like blaming others for their life goals, for their life issues. Please and please take responsibility for your life choices. So I think that's that with the compass. If you follow this compass, there's more to it. More can, even a lot of us here, because like we said, there are a lot of experts out there on this call. You can add more. Even when I was talking, you can see areas that this compass you can add to the compass. But if you take this compass and go along with it, it makes you a holistic person. Then you can balance every other thing you're doing in life. So I'm going to stop this slide and bring back the compass and invite Busola to ask the people if there are questions at this point or anything. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me put on my video. Thank you, Gbenga, for that comprehensive conversation on how to become a holistic person. There are a lot of questions and comments in the chat box, but I think I'll just go straight into the chat box actually and the Q&A, and then I'll add my own questions and comments at the end. So the first
I
one.
hope some of the questions, if I cannot answer it, we'll invite you to
Well, we have experts in the room, so I will also join.
Dr. Fatima is here, yes.
I've heard about finding your true call a lot from a lot of people, but very few people talk on how to do that. Can you help us with how to find our true calling? How to find our passion? Also, aren't we free to explore different industries? Must we focus so much on finding our calling?
Okay. So yeah, thank you for that question. And I love when you said exploring different industry. Finding your core does not stop you from exploring different industry. Now, what we mean and finding the core, you might well say, what is life calling you to? We're not talking about career. What's the finding your core? You know, a lot of people say it. I see a lot of people think about finding your core to be career. I think you answered the question. You even helped me explain what I meant by the core by what you've just said now. Because finding your core is knowing what is life calling you to do. So if, for example, this day I'm working as a banker, knowing my core will make me, in my banking job, I'll bring my core into it. So for instance, for me, I know that in life, I've been called to help people to unlock their potentials. So if I'm sitting with you in the next 5 minutes and I don't ask you questions that will help you maybe to start thinking, or questions to explore what you've been called in life to do, know that you're not sitting near Gbenga, or I'm sick, I'm not feeling fine. So more than 15 years ago, I discovered in life that I've been gifted by God, or I've been gifted by nature, for those of you that whatever you believe in, I've been gifted by God to help people find direction for their life. So I tell you that I see my life as a waterfall. And for those of you that have been close to a waterfall before, you know that waterfall bring about cooling effect. It brings about cooling effect, and it brings about vegetative growth as it flows along. So that is my life, that is my core. But I can explore any career. So if I'm working, like I told you, I've been a lecturer before. When I lecture, you see that my core in my lecturing with my students. When I was working as a field scientist, you see that my core in my field scientist. Now that I work with an agent of the US government, you see that in my core, in my work as a facilitator and a trainer. I work with both military and other stuff around the corner. So you finding your core is not your career. Finding your career is a different thing. I'm not talking about career. That can take us another big different thing. So finding your core, like I said, is what is life calling you to. For instance, if you meet 5 of your friends, if they talk about you, what would they easily ask? For example, now for you that might ask this question, if you need somebody to talk about, think clearly in terms of an idea you have, you know which of your friend you will call. But sometimes some of those friends do not even know that they have those ability. So some people have ability to look through numbers. So that's why sometimes you see yourself when you go to school, once you know your recalling, you see that you love some courses that deals with number, courses that deal with this. So you might be someone that has the ability to think clearly, someone that can deal with logic, that can deal with this. So that's what we talk about, finding your course. So see, the questions I asked there was that, what is life calling you to? What do you see yourself being drawn to do? Are you an investor? You've had somebody resign from the work they're doing. Okay, sorry, I didn't take permission from Busola to give this example, for instance. But she was working as a management consultant before, but she felt that her core is to help social educational part. But it's not that she cannot still work in that sector, but her core is to create. Her core is to do this, and she started studying for greatness. So that's her main core. But she can still work anywhere, and she's teaching at ALA. So she knows her core. Her core is to help revamp failing system. So that's what we meant by finding your core. So what are you committed to? What is that staying power? But it's not career. So please do not miss finding your core to be your career. And because of the limited time we have, I would have taken enough time to talk through the, but if this person is still interested, I can give references, I can give documents, I can help you to discover what is your core. You know, even Simon Sinek, I usually, maybe I pronounce his name, Simon Sinek was talking about his book, Why. Was talking about wherever you are, wherever you need to discover your why. He calls it discovering your why. Until you discover your why, you just jumble around. You know, we're talking about being a holistic person, people with a different. So that's what we mean by finding your core. not your career. So please, you can explore any career, but as you explore, know that there's also time limits. If it's not what life is calling you to, you might be wasting a lot of time jumping here and there.
Great. Just to eliminate a bit on what you've shared on how our call is different from our career path, and how, so like your job is not who you are. Your call is actually what can then define who you are as a person. That's how I look at it. So if I say I'm an enabler, whether I'm teaching or I'm an accountant or I'm an economist or I'm an auditor, whatever I do, or I'm building foundation of changing curriculum, I should be enabling people or systems. So that's how I look at it. So thank you for sharing that. Another question.
Yeah. So sorry, Priscilla. Yeah, so once you say something just spark. I love what you said. It's like when you people that make cake or people that bake, cook, all those chefs. Sometimes you see that they bring their personality into their cooking. They bring their personality into that. So there's something you said about when you're designing your curriculum, when you're teaching, your core shows in it. That's why there are two different teachers. You might sit under them, but you see their core in the way they teach. Some just sit as a passing time, but some see it as a calling. And you see, for teachers that see teaching as a calling, they're totally different from somebody that sees it as a career. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We have another question here. It says, how do we recognize what relationships would be valuable in the future and sustain such relationships while maintaining our own morals and not getting shaped by their own habits over time?
Okay. Yeah, that's a tight question. It's also coming back to, you need to understand what is your value. You need to have your value. If, for example, your values in life is compassionate, to be compassionate, to be kind, integrity, and this, you know that you cannot build, no matter what you benefit from somebody that is not kind, or somebody that does not know, you can, maybe, I should not say kind, somebody that does not have integrity. No matter what the person will give to you that will take you to your next level, you should not be the relationship with that person. But sometimes maybe the people might not be as kind as you are, but you need to know that you have professional relationship with them at work. Because sometimes the places where you work or some of the people you need to grow with in life might not have the same moral compass like you, but you need to know when to draw the line, when not to cross. And that's going to be individual judgment call. For example, I cannot say on this call, you need to know when to the, but number one thing I only tell you to do is that have your own personal value. Once you have your personal value, you need to know when you cannot join this person. You cannot do this. Once you don't have those personal values, you become friends with everybody. And also don't be afraid to miss out. Remember, we talk about that missing out. You know what many people join friends with everybody is because they don't want to miss out. No, miss out. Sometimes you get to find good things for yourself. But again, sometimes you can still build relationship with people that might not really meet your value, but know where to stop, know where to draw the line. And that drawing the line is going to be an individual call. I cannot say, hey, you stop here, you stop here. But know is that having your own personal value in life. So if there's anybody on this call now that don't have any personal value, I will challenge you after the call today to go back. What are your 4 to 7 key personal value in life that will guide you all through your lifestyle on earth? Once you have that, then it can help you to build your relationship. But also know that relationship, sometimes some have expiring dates. Because for some people, once you get to a point, don't force it. You don't force a relationship, but there's some relationship will be for a lifetime. They might not give you anything, but they're just people that you go with. So know when, and it's also a judgment, because sometimes you know when somebody is using you, every time they call you to one program, you're already on the platform, they're calling you to speak here, speak there, and one day they never ask you, what do you want? Or they not even help you to even grow, or send you a link that will help you become better professionally. Their users cut that relationship and go away. Because especially in the development sector, in the development space, there are a lot of users out there. They keep using you, invite you to every program, and you keep spending all of your money too. And one day they didn't even ask you, what do you also need? If you keep it, but even if you're a mentor and you're helping someone every time, and your mentee has not asked you that, leader, what do you even want me to do for you? You might not even do anything for you, but just asking you, what can I do for you? Then you know that that's not the kind of relationship you want to keep. You cut it. So it's a judgment call, and it's going to be an individual. For all of us on this call, we have different way to draw that call or to make the call.
Awesome. Thank you very much for explaining that very well. That we need to, just to reiterate for anyone that may have missed the beginning, you need to have your own personal values in choosing relationships. And I also wanted to just add that you need to invest in relationships as well. So don't expect people to always give to you without you investing with pure intentions, not because you want to receive. But yeah. The other question that is here is, how do I have my own thinking without when influence from social media and people around me is saying something different? How do I not follow? How do I ensure I don't follow the masses? And how do I know that the mass is wrong?
Okay, that's also a philosophical question. So you don't want to trap me here, right? So now, but again, I will take you back to your core. Once you know what you've been called to do in life, once you have a foundation, it's people that don't have foundation and people that lack of self-esteem makes people to jump into to believe everything they see on social media. You need to guide your mind. It's not everything you need to expose yourself to. Especially also, we are talking with teenagers and adults, so you need to know where you are in the stage of your life. Sometimes your mind might not be matured enough. It's also that you might be old in age, but you've not grown yourself mentally through study, through finding, asking questions, meeting people that can help you. So you don't even have your own solid bearing. You fall for anything. Trust me, half of those social media influencers you see, they are not who they say they are. Sorry to say this. I know a lot of them in Nigeria off the social media, and sometimes I laugh. I usually tell my friends that that when I'm talking to my girlfriend, I tell her, see you, all these people, this one, all that is talking is lie. So you know them that they are lying. So, but for sometimes for the young people, you might not have that information. But first, you need to also have mentor that can help you, that can guide you. Sometimes we are struggling. For example, people struggle with things either with religious knowledge or even with academic knowledge. You need to find somebody you can reach out to that will explain to you. But first, if you yourself do not have a right bearing, they can lead you astray. So like we're saying is, build a foundation for yourself. Once you build a foundation for yourself, also ask yourself, are you not also listening to what you want to hear? There's something I missed when we're talking about checking your growth. Feedback mechanism. How many of you are open to taking feedback? Because sometimes when somebody will tell you that, oh, you are consuming too much of social media, you are doing this, you take it in a bad way. For example, your mentor say, cut down on your social media time, cut down on this, and you feel so bad. So it's important. One, let me try and answer your question directly this way, because I've jumped on two different points at the same time, but let me try and streamline it in. Now is this. One of the way to begin to know you can filter information is build your foundation. Have stamina. I know for sporting people, the more you practice as a footballer, as a basketballer, I love basketball. The more you practice, the more you begin to have clean jump shots, the more you begin to become a good three-pointer. Is practice. So you don't wake up overnight and begin to detect what is right or what not is right, because everybody has their own truth, but there are some foundational truth in life that you need to build for yourself. So what I'm saying is that when you keep practicing, when you keep reading blows up the mind. Expose yourself to good material. Create time to study and build those foundations. Once you build that, you begin to be able to know how to differentiate the real information from the wrong one. But also have mentors in your life. Have friends. Peer pressure is powerful. That's the truth of the matter, even for adults. Number one way for you to overcome peer pressure is to agree that it can influence you. If you don't believe that you can be influenced by social media or by your friend, then that's the number one road of a fool. Sorry to use this word, but that's the number one way of a fool, because you're going to fall. You fall foolishly into every trap. So know that you can be deceived. So once you believe that you can be deceived, then you guide your thoughts, you guide yourself, the kind of material you have been exposed to, then you keep growing. Sometimes you make mistakes, but you pick up again. And also be careful what you share on social media. There are ways. First, verify the information. With internet now, it's not everything on the internet that is true. You need to know who is the source. Who is this? And I'll also leave you with one thing this evening is that learn how to filter news. There's no independent media in the world. Don't allow anybody to deceive you. The CNN, Al Jazeera, NTA, or anybody, they are not free. They are not independent. And why am I saying that? He that pays the piper dictates the tune. So one of the ways to do that, all of these media houses, they have their ideology. But it's not depending on you as an individual. Have what is called a filter. You know what the filter does? It sieves information. So when information is coming from CNN, pass it through your filter, your judgment filter, pick out what is good for you. When it's coming from Fox News, pass it through. When it's NTA, you know that in Nigeria we call it NTA, Nigeria Television Authority. It's run by the government. Also in your country, the media runs by the government will always support the agenda of the government. There are people that have dropped their money to set up Al Jazeera. They have their own ideology. They have their social value they want to pursue. So please don't just consume news. When you read the newspaper, don't believe everything. First ask yourself, who is the owner of the newspaper? What's their ideology? What are they doing? It's a judgment call, and you begin to know, oh, pick what you want from it and discard the rest. So just use the sieve principle. The sieve principle will help you.
All right, thank you very much. Because of time, I'll just read the last question, and then if there are any other questions in the chat box, we can take them, or we can make this one fast. It says, could you tell us more about how you took yourself out of the bootstraps after you were let go from your previous employment due to age, which is truly an employment practice that is very discriminatory?
Sorry, can you come up with the question again? I didn't hear you. The
Could
last
you
part of the
tell
question.
us more about how you took yourself out of the bootstraps after you were let go from your previous employment due to age, which is truly an employment practice that is very discriminatory?
Okay, yeah, so now I think one of the ways, before then, I know what my true north was. And, today is not to talk about, because before even then, I volunteered first when I left high school. So when I left high school, I volunteered 4 years before going to college. So that volunteering for 4 years before going to college gave me a bearing for life. So I had a lot of skills and opportunity I could use. So when I was even with the company, I was consulting by the side. So I had consulting job that I do over the weekend with people. So when I was leaving them already, because I have what I was already doing by the side, the project I was consulting for a DFID project part-time, and I was also working for the company. So over the weekend, I do my consulting, and when I take my leave time, I go to facilitate. So when I left, the DFID project offered me a full position. So it was easy for me because I've diversified my skill already. So I think that's a very good question. So also call for young people on this call, and everybody learn to diversify your skill, diversify your opportunity. Because I already know what to do, and I also had opportunity. I could print. I'm a publisher. I could do a lot of things. So when I was leaving them, I was not worried. Even the HR, the day they gave me the call, I said, Gbenga, we're building a new team. Sorry, you cannot be part of this team. They were surprised. I appreciated them. I thanked them. I wished them well. They were so shocked. And funny enough, they came back to me. The company came back to me 6 months later to take up a new position. I declined. I asked them. They were shocked. I didn't take it. Because I could not come back to them, because if they have treated me like that as one of their best hand and they didn't put everything into position, I turned them down. So the way I survived was because I diversified my skill and had other opportunity, everything I could do for myself. So I wasn't down, and I also had little savings that I could fall on if I didn't even get anything for some time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We actually have someone in the chat that says, Joy Williams, she says very enlightening and thought-provoking. And thank you. I'm 73 years old and willing to learn. Thank you, Gbenga. Let me just read through the chat. Balaji says that was a really powerful and comprehensive session. Thank you so much, Gbenga from Damilola. I think there was a question here, just the last one as we wrap up. Are there disadvantages of involvement in solitude? You talked about solitude, and this person is asking, yes, solitude is great, but are there disadvantages towards being isolated all the time? I think.
Thank you that you used. I love the way you said it. So please don't leave this. There's some people that like keeping themselves in isolation. That's not the solitude we're talking here is not about isolation, because there's a lot of disadvantage if you always isolate yourself. You begin to hear voices that you're not supposed to hear. You begin to hear. But what we're saying is that be comfortable being alone sometimes. Time to time, take breaks from people. It helps you to think. When you want to think, don't go with all your friends. So, oh, now I'm taking a walk for thinking, and you go with all your friends. For example, if you want to go for thinking, don't go with Gbenga. I can chat a lot. I can discuss. When you think you're thinking, I'll say, hey, there's this idea that's in my mind. I'll use my own to disrupt your own time. So it's important that create time. What we mean is maybe we should call it crowd break. So it's what about isolation has a lot of disadvantage, because a lot of people can suffer mental challenges, difficulty, and sometimes a lot of people too, because they've gone through abuses and traumatic situation, they are isolated. So please, if you are someone like that, seek help. So don't say, oh, Gbenga said it's good for me to be isolated. Yes, and no, you're not doing the right thing. You're not doing the right thing. Seek help, and gradually you can come back. What we're saying is that take crowd breaks, time to time, take crowd breaks. Yeah. And please feedback. I want to really emphasize that. Incorporate the art of taking feedback into your life, especially to the younger generation. We don't like taking feedback. You always feel angry when people give you feedback, or you think, oh, they are jealousing me. Nobody's jealousing you. Learn to take feedback and learn to know when criticism is good. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think what you just said, the last note about not being defensive with feedback is very important. It's something that a lot of young people, I know I've struggled with it at some point, but how I actually become more open-minded to it is to just take a moment to think about what has been said to me. Is there an element of truth in it? Is there an opportunity for me to grow? So I asked myself these questions, and I'm like, do they have any malicious intent, or are they really, even if they didn't say it nicely, is there any malicious intent? And when I do that, when I step out and try and take myself away from it, I really see that it helps me absorb this feedback and analyze it critically. So I think one key point that is a takeaway for me from all that you have shared tonight is being an holistic person actually ties back to what we said earlier. Be a critical thinker, be able to think for yourself, to actually introspect and figure out what is my call and growth areas. And like you said, be a thinker. You need to actually study to be able to think. So you need a lot of time to read and not just Googling things and taking one line. I know it's very easy these days to just take one line, and then people go on social media and everybody is saying big things. But when you actually pause and think about it, you're like, this thing doesn't actually make sense, or there's no substance. So you need to be that person that provides substance. Thank you all, everyone that joined. It's been an amazing 1 hour that went by really fast. Thank you. We have some thank you comments in the chat box. Dr. Fatima says, thank you for helping to expand our horizons. She likes the ease and eloquence with which you presented and answered questions. Thank you for acknowledging my moderation. Deborah says, that was really liberating. We young people especially need to learn how to stand with the moral force, understand it, and follow without apology. Emmanuel says, thank you for the session. And everyone says thank you. So I say thank you as well. Thank you all for joining. We shall see you tomorrow.
And I also say thank you too for coming. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yes, thank you all for coming. And we shall see you tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. West African time.